Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcome to this Monday morning live streaming when we speak on the questions, respond to the questions. This question from a seeker: I do not wish to have sex with my wife, but I want to have with others. So I make contact and through various methods. And when we meet, I do not have any desire left. Based on this, he asked about sexuality, if there is anything wrong, and few questions. So it's a collection of certain questions, and in response to that, I have to take you through various dimensions of this so that it is understood properly. Today I take one aspect: witness transforms sex. Witness transcends sex. Not only sex, anything that you are a witness to it. Witness means you are doing it consciously. You're raising your hand consciously. It transforms the act of raising the hand into a divine act. Witnessing is the essence of human existence. Whatsoever you do consciously transforms you. The moment you participate in sex consciously and you are a witness, witness means it is like an act where you are the director, you are the actor simultaneously. Normally, you can be either actor or director, but this is art where you are simultaneously playing the role of the actor and the director both. You are observing what it is happening to you during the act. You are observing your breath movement. That means you are your physical part which is involved in the act, the mind which directs it, and the witness which is beyond the body and the mind. Witness is observing as if you are the observer. You are directing as well as you are watching the movement, your movement and that of your partner. So the moment you start watching it and you are observer, you are no more involved in it. The process of transcendence has begun. And once you can become a witness in the sex act, sex will transcend. Because witnessing makes you free. Now, the compulsion will not be there. You will not be an unconscious participant. Once you have become a witness to any act, you have transcended it. You are eating food. The food has nutritional value. Then there is a spiritual value of the food. That is why it is said, say your prayers. But saying your prayers and being prayerful are two different things. Someone asked a mystic, I see you walking tirelessly, listening to every seeker, where we go and take a rest, but you continuously involved. Where do you get all this energy? The person responded, do you think the energy that I have, it comes from the frugal meals that I eat? Jalaluddin Rumi whirled for 36 hours. People came and washed him. They get tired, they went home, took their meals, rest and come back. It is very simple when you are involved in an act beyond the physical energy. You get tremendous energy. And as I have explained from time and again, there are three layers of energy. You have to understand it this way. The physical energy comes from the food that you eat. Are you eating nutritionally empty food or nutritionally dense food? Nutritionally dense food means a proper balance, the kind of protein that you are using, the kind of oil that you are using. Sometimes people say that I just do not use the oil, just use a few drops of oil. Seems considered himself very wise. So I ask, you drive vehicle? Yes. Do you use the oil in the engine? Do you use just a few drops of the oil in the engine? He said, no. I said, why? The answer comes in if the quantity of the oil is below its level, then it will damage the engine. But when it comes to the human life, we do not understand all 70 trillion cells in your body and all the body parts, they need lubrication. And when the fluid is lost or dried up, you get the problem of frozen shoulder, the arthritis and many things like these. So physical energy comes from that. Then there is a second layer of energy. It is like 3 rooms connected to one another. You are in one room. You know the whole geography of the house. You can move from one room to the another. But you have to cross the threshold between the 2 doors. So it happens that you are at the physical level of energy. You begin to feel tired after a certain time. You start jogging. You can jog 5-10 minutes depending on your stamina. But after that you feel tired and you say that I cannot jog anymore. You are at the threshold of entering the second layer. You can stop jogging. So you have only consumed your physical energy, which is the surface energy. Then you go into your instructor says no, continue. You say that I cannot, I will fall down. But he says no, you will not fall down, continue. He encourages you. You continue and you can even Continue jogging for the same amount of time or even more. Now you are in the second layer of your energy, which is deeper, which is not physical. You can call it mental energy, you can call it intellectual energy, or whatsoever you name, you give it. Again, after some time, a point comes in when you cannot jog anymore. If you continue, you are in the last layer of energy, which is deepest. It is cosmic energy. You can enter through this energy consciously when it is needed. When you are involved in your project where your emotions are connected, you feel tirelessly, you continue the work tirelessly without eating or anything. That time you are working from the second layer of energy. So the masters, they know how to enter into the deepest layer of energy when it is needed. So consciously they enter. And with ordinary people it happens sometimes because of circumstance and situation. Your boss has said that you have to finish this project, come what may. It has to finish today. So there is a sword hanging on your head. You have no option but to continue the project and finish it for the day. Knowingly or unknowingly, you enter into. So you can enter into different layers of energy. Once you have become witness in the act, you have transcended it. Now you know that you are not body alone, you are energy. Energy moves in a straight line as well as it weaves, as it may be necessary. The witnessing force in you has known something beyond the physical energy. This beyond can be known only when you are deeply within. It is not a surface encounter. Most of the case, any act, be it sex or anything else, remains a surface encounter. You are bargaining in the market. Your consciousness cannot go deep because the act itself is superficial. As far as man is concerned, sex act is ordinarily the only act through which one can become a witness to inner depths, inner treasures. The more you go into meditation, the moment witnessing begins, a different kind of energy field you enter into, that is meditation. The more you go into meditation through sex or any act, the less sex will have effect on you. Meditation will grow from it, and out of the growing meditation, a new door will open, and with that door, sex will wither away. Meditation will evolve and grow from it. And out of the growing meditation, suddenly a new door opens. And as the door opens, you are ready to enter into the deeper layer of your being. Sex withers away from that door. Then it will not be a sublimation. It will be just like the dry leaves that are that turn gold, and during autumn they fall from the tree, and when they fall they provide nourishment to the tree. Then sex will nourish you. The tree never knows the leaves are falling. It is only the one who is watching it know that this autumn has come and the leaves are falling. In the same way, you will never know that the mechanical urge that I do not want to have sex with my wife, but want to have with others. This is a mechanical urge. This mechanical urge will disappear. You will never know that the mechanical urge for sex is disappearing. And that's where you find that you do not understand what is happening with my sexuality. If one feels that there is no interest in sex, we consider it something is going wrong with the person, whereas it is not so. You are growing up in consciousness. The one moment a little girl child is interested in a doll, in a teddy bear that is her entire life and support. But as she begins to grow, those teddy bears and those Barbie dolls do not create interest anymore in her. They drop out as if dried leaves have fallen from the tree. You are at that level where the dried leaves, sex is dropping out like the dried leaves from the tree of consciousness. Create meditation out of sex. Make sex an act of an object, act of meditation. Treat it as a temple, and you will transcend it, and it will be transformed. Then sex will not be there. And with that there will be no suppression. You don't need to suppress it. There will be no sublimation. It will become just irrelevant and meaningless for you, and you will understand what it is happening with you. Is there? You will not say that is there anything wrong with my sexuality? You have grown beyond it. It makes no sense to you now. It is just like a child who is growing up. Now toys become meaningless. He goes into something else. He is no more interested in toy cars. He has not sublimated anything. He has not suppressed anything. He has just grown up. He has become mature. And the moment you become mature, toys become meaningless. They are childish now. And the child is no more a child. In the same way, the more you meditate, the less will be the appeal to you. You may say that I do not meditate. True, you may not. But you do connect to me. Connecting to me means what? I am not a social person. When you connect to me, you send a question, you seek answer for something. It is a communion of energy. It is a communion. When I say something to you and I am speaking to you, it is you are connected to me via the physical being to my energy layers. And the words are emerging out of different energy layers that may be necessary for transformation, different layers of the being. The first layer, the second layer, the third, the fifth, the seventh. You may not know, but it will begin to happen. So it is better the company of a master, company of an enlightened one, a sheikh, is very dangerous. He will not say anything to you, but slowly and slowly you get a new perspective of life. All that is superficial will start falling as if they never existed. And by, spontaneously, without a conscious effort to sublimate sex, energy will have a new source to flow to. The same energy that has flowed through sex will now flow through meditation, through other creative aspects. And when it flows through meditation, the door to the divine, door to the unknown, and unknowable begins to open. There is another word that we use quite as a synonym, sex and love. Ordinarily, we use both words as if they have a deep inner association or connected to one another. They are not. Love happens, love evolves, love comes only when sex has disappeared. Before that, love is just a foreplay and nothing else. It is just preparing the ground for sex act. It is nothing but an introduction to sex, a preface. So the more sex is between the two, the less will be the possibility of love between the two. If two persons are in love and there is no sex between them, there will be much romantic love. But the moment sex comes in, love goes out of the door. Sex becomes abrupt. In itself, it is violent, it needs an introduction, it needs a foreplay. Love as we know it is just clothing, covering for the naked act of sex. If you look deeply into what you call love, you will find sex standing behind the door, just waiting an opportunity to jump in, to come in from the back door. You are sitting on the couch talking something. Sex is waiting for an opportunity to jump and take hold of you. Love is talking. Sex is preparing. This so-called love is associated with sex, but only as a preface. If sex comes in, love will drop and disappear. That is why marriage kills the romantic love, and it kills absolutely. The two persons become acquainted with one another, and the foreplay, the love becomes unnecessary. Real love is not a preface. It is the fragrance. It is not before sex. Instead, it is after. It is not a prologue but epilogue. Love is not a prologue, it is indeed epilogue. Epilogue is written after the end of the book, and prologue is another name for preface. If you have passed through the sex and feel compassionate for the other, then love develops. And if you meditate and you feel compassionate, if you meditate, you will feel compassion arising in you. If you meditate during the act of sex, then the sexual partner will not be just an instrument for physical pleasure. You will feel gratitude for him or her because you both have come to a deep meditation. The other becomes a door to connect you to the unknown and unknowable. When you meditate in sex, a new friendliness will arise between both of you. Some of you would have experienced it in certain moments. A new friendliness will arise between both of you through each other. You have come into communion with nature. Through each one of you, you get a glimpse of the unknown and unknowable, the depth of the reality. You remember in Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Devi asks a question, what is thy reality? What is this wonderful universe? You come to know when love has taken hold of you. That moment, Devi is sitting on the lap of Shiva. There is nothing, no sense of sex is being felt by either of these. Otherwise, a simple touch of the other creates a sensation within the physical body. You will feel grateful and compassionate to each other. Compassion for suffering, compassion for this search, compassion for a fellow being, for a fellow traveler. When sex becomes meditative, only then there arises a fragrance that lingers behind, a feeling that it is no more a foreplay of sex, instead a maturity, a growth, a meditative realization. So the moment sex becomes meditative, you will feel love. Then love will not be a foreplay for sex. Instead, it will be a combination of gratefulness, friendliness, and compassion. If these three are there, you are in love. If this love develops, it will transcend sex. Gratefulness will transcend sex. Friendliness will transcend it. Compassion will transcend it. Love develops through sex. Sex is the seed. Love is the flower or the fruit, but goes beyond it. The moment it is just like a flower comes through the root, but it goes beyond the root. There is a subtle connection between the two, and It will not come back. There is no reversal, no regression. If love develops, sex will disappear. You will feel that why is this happening to my sexuality? This is a growth, but you have not been explained these things. It is no sex will be there. In fact, that is one of the ways of knowing that love has developed. Sex is like a small shell of an egg, a shell through which love has to emerge. The moment it emerges, the shell will no longer be there, it will be broken. And when it is broken, it is discarded. Sex can reach love only when meditation is there, otherwise, not. If meditation is not there, the same act will be repeated and there will be boredom. Then you say that I want to have sex, but I do not have the desire for sex. Sex will become increasingly dull and you will not feel any gratefulness to the other because you are involving in it mechanically. Rather, you will feel cheated. This is what happens in most of the cases, and the point where you are at the moment. You feel inimical to him or her. The person dominates, and domination happens through sex because it has become your need. You have become a slave because you cannot live without it. This is how what happens to the ordinary people. You can never feel friendliness towards someone to whom you have become a slave because you have to depend on that person to fulfill your urge for sex. And both, it is not only you feel, but both feel the same way. The other is that the other is the master. He or she is using me the way wants to use. The domination will be denied and fought, but sex will still be repeated again and again. This is what you see, and it becomes a daily routine. Bickering, and every day before making love, we quarrel, then we make love. You fight with your sex partner, then make things right again. Then again you fight, and you make up. Love is just an adjustment at the most. You cannot feel friendly. There is no compassion. Instead, there will be cruelty and violence. This is what we see around. You will feel cheated. You have become a slave. Sex will not be able to develop into love in that state. It will remain just sex. Go through it. Do not be afraid of it, because fear will not lead you anywhere. If one has to be afraid of anything, it is only fear itself. Never be afraid of sex and do not fight with it, because that too is a sort of fear. When you fight with anger, you cannot forgive. Compassion will not be there, and you will continue to suffer. Transformation will not be there. Do not fear sex and do not fight with it, because fight is also a sort of fear. Fight or flight. Flight is escape. These are two paths of fear. When fear comes in, either you fight or you flight. So do not escape sex, do not fight it, accept it, take it for granted, but go deep into it. Go as deep as possible, know it totally, understand it, meditate in it, and it will be and you will transcend it. And when sex is transcended, you are transformed. You come upon a new dimension, a very unknown, something that you have never heard, greater than the bliss, and greater bliss flows through. You will encounter something so blissful that sex will become irrelevant and it will vanish, subside by itself. Now your energy will no longer flow in that direction. Energy flows towards bliss. Because bliss up to now was appearing to you in sex, energy flows through it. But if you seek more bliss, a bliss that transcends sex, that goes beyond it, a bliss that is more fulfilling, deeper, greater, then by itself energy will stop flowing towards sex. When sex becomes meditation, it flows towards love, it flows towards compassion, and this is the flowering is movement towards the divine. That is why Jesus said God is love. Sex is physical, love is spiritual. Sex is physical, love is spiritual. And if the flower of love has blossomed, prayer will follow it. Now you are not far from the divine. You are very close, very near the home. Now, earlier on you were meditating on love, on sex. Now you meditate on love. This is the second step. When the heart center is invoked and you are doing the zikr on the heart center, your zarab, according to the Sufi terminology, your zarab is on the heart center. There are two ways of doing a particular zikr. The zarab, your force, can be on the ground or at the heart center. This is the second step. When the moment of communion is there, when the moment of love is there, begin to meditate again, go deep into it, be aware of it. Now bodies are not meeting. In sex, bodies meet, In love, soul meet. In sex, the union is of two bodies. Love is the union of two souls. Still, it is a meeting between two persons. Now see love as you have seen sex. See the communion, the inner meeting, the inner act of orgasm. Then you will transcend even love. In the end, you have to transcend everything. Then you will transcend love. You will come to prayer. Prayer is the door. Still, it is a meeting, but not meeting between two persons. It is communion between you and the whole. Now, in prayer, the other is no more a person. It has become impersonal. The whole existence and you. But prayer still is a meeting. So ultimately you have to transcend prayer as well. In prayer, the devotee and the divine are different. The Bhakt and Bhagwan are different. Still it is a meeting. That is why Meera or Teresa could use sexual terms for the experience of prayer. Now in those moments of prayer you have to meditate again. First you become a witness through the act of sex. Then you transcend sex. Love is evolved. The journey still continues. You be a witness. You will transcend love. You will become prayerful. Then journey still continues. You are in transit. Still be a witness to your prayer. In those moments of prayerfulness, be a witness to it again. See the communion between you and the whole. This requires the subtlest awareness possible. Subtlest awareness possible. If you can be aware of the meeting between you and the whole, then you transcend yourself and the whole. Tarke tark, tarke ukba, tarke mola. Then and only then you are whole, Purn. And in this wholeness, the duality has disappeared. There is only oneness. You and God are not separate. This oneness first is sought through sex, through love, through prayer. This oneness is what is longed for. All along, the real oneness we seek, even in sex, The longing is for oneness. Bliss comes because for a single moment you have become one. Sex deepens into love, love deepens into prayer, and prayer deepens into a total transcendence, a total oneness. This deepening is always through meditation. The method is always the same. Levels or stages are different. Witnessing is the key. Dimensions differ, steps differ, but the method remains the same. Go deep into sex, you will find love. This is the copper mine. Go deep, dig again, you will find the silver mine. Love is the silver mine. Go and explode, you will find the gold mine. Go deep into love and you will find prayer as the diamond mine. Dig into prayer, you will explode into oneness. You have found the diamonds. This oneness is total. This oneness is bliss. This oneness is ecstasy. So it is essential not to take a fighting attitude in every act. Divine is present. It may be garbed, it may be closed, but you must strip it, unclose it. You will still find more subtle garbs. Again undress it. Unless you encounter the oneness in its total nakedness, you will never feel satiation. You will never feel fulfilled. The moment you come to the ungarbed one, unclosed one, you cannot become one, because when you know the naked, it is no one but you. In fact, everyone is searching for himself through the other. One has to find one's own home by knocking on others' doors. The moment reality is disrobed, you are one with it, because the difference is only of the garbs. Close are the barriers. So you cannot disrobe reality unless you disrobe yourself. Remove the layers that cover you. That is what Raman said. Go within, deeper and deeper. You remove your clothes, disrobe yourself step by step. Mano buddha ahankar chittani naham. A layer is disrobed. I am neither the relation nor the life force, not the air that I breathe in. You are disrobing yourself. The moment you disrobe yourself, the existence stands disrobed in front of you in its pure sublimity. That is why meditation is too arrowed. Too arrowed. It has 2 points. One, like an arrow, it faces you and it faces the existence. It disrobes you and disrobes the existence as well. The reality becomes naked and you become naked. And in a moment of total nakedness, total emptiness, you become the one, non-dual. Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham, the unborn, beyond birth and death, the only reality that existed in the beginning, that exists now, and will exist when the creation is no more. I am not against anything. I am not against sex. When I say that does not mean I am in favor of sex. I want you to reach the top of your roof. In order for that, ladder is to be used, a staircase is to be used. I want you to use sex as a ladder, love as a ladder, prayer as a ladder. The beyond is always there. But ordinary sex, as you think that you do not want to have sex with your wife, but you want to have with others, it is just hit and run sex. No one can go deep through it. Learn to go deep into it. Only this much for this morning, until we continue, until we meet again. Take care and do have a pleasant day.